talk, and now Wolves have been able to take advantage of positions that seemed very, very strong. And with Wolves being able to pick up those 3 elims, now GK are going to try and capitalize. One player does stay down. Doran is back up to his feet with a nade in hand. I'm surprised he's not going for that heal. There's that first knock, and Wolves look to hold off in a solid fashion where DXavier could not. Coops, I think he wanted to hop out the window there. Maybe a little bit too slow. Second time's a charm, but Higsword goes down on the sideline. 3 players fall on the approach, but 3 in response, and it's up to Doran versus Saf. And now pushing onto the outside there. Doran loses one of his teammates. They are flushed away. It opens up for the door frame, but will be blasted back off its hinges.
Safji underneath. Oh, trying to make his way back up the stairs here. Like you say, Doran, all down to him now. Nade in hand. This has to be a golden throw. And will head further down the stairs. Has one more to try and make it happen. Quick switches between the weapons. But teammates are starting to bleed out. Safji realizes he's just going to go for those elimination points. Pick those up where he can. Doran jumps out the window. Goes for a similar scenario. Takes down the entire team between the 2 of them.
Safji has to go for the reload there, but he's managed to get it in time. Oh no, the off angle comes through as well and forced into the fight. He wasn't ready for it. Wolves fall and nobody can hold these buildings. GK very, very slow to be able to get out of this position as well. It's going to make their approach really tough. They're playing now as 2 players on that northern side. Regnum Kaya still in a great spot, and RA as well, having a second really strong game to open the tournament.
I mean, for RA, I've been... Well, again, I said it was unsurprising. I think they're a team that's improved a lot over the years. And they have remained steadfast between one another. So I do think they deserve all the prestige that they're requiring throughout this gauntlet. Good shot from Marth over towards Saf as he attempts to leave that position. Will explode on the vehicle there. Leaving GK high and dry with just the 1 player in Kevin. Tries to make a move out. Marth's got his eyes that way too. Doesn't quite have his number though.
Not quite on the bead fully, unfortunately. Kevin gets a little bit further forwards. R8 regroup back down to the compound that they've held for a while now. And continue their solid hold on the riverbank. Circle definitely north leaning, but Regnum Kai have been holding this 2-2 split for a while. They like these river splits. They've played quite significantly on them in these sorts of situations, and they played them pretty well in the past. And they're looking to do just the same here. Mormon still alive for E-Arena. Tony K as well, off on that western side. The 2 players left for the team from Thailand as the circle pops.
Towards the west. Still has a lot of water in this one as well, so getting flashbacks over towards Rondo now. Thunder talks with their singular player looking to pump the placement points a little bit with their 18 from their last game. Very obvious someone's in here, at least. Marth again, really not leaving Kevin alone. Despite asking multiple times, Prestige gets an off angle on it and will pick him up. As the circle moves further towards that western side, Regnum Kaya get more and more of the advantage here. But I think that both Silas as well as Zedwolf know they need to have a very, very strong hold towards the south side, because this is the position that's going to allow them to take on R8 when they do eventually try and move in. But with E-Arena still around this area, that's what Silas as well as Zedwolf are definitely most worried about.
Oranguton, last player in the drink. Been hiding out for a while. Almost cost Loxy his life to try and pick that point up. See how much longer they can survive. R8 making that western push, the real big maneuver that has to happen here. The question is when. The question is what do they need to get in place to feel confident enough to go for this push. Ida pushed off that rooftop now. They have to keep marching forwards. Regroup onto the tower and go from there. Regnum Kaya yet to really fully chime in with force. AJ being a bit of a thorn in the side here. You see, I think as soon as AJ goes down, if Zedwolf can find those shots with the Mini 14, I think that's when Regnum Kaya can really start to leverage this.
All right, moving out, but Wild immediately finds the first shots on that one, which is a good pickup. Looking behind him as well. I mean, very, very good awareness on this one, but minimal ammo to work with. No nades, realistically, here. Orangutan still holding strong. R8 just about get themselves in a position to start sending nades, but Wild evades every single one of them. M79 out of the smokes now as E-Arena looks to move across. How is he not down? Goodness me.
Oh dear, Tony K takes a lot of damage as well, and it is going to be maintained on that south edge. Rectum Kaya now playing with 2 on that south side. Don't go down as well. A knock there would have been really nasty for them, but they keep it going. Loxy, close to Marth, close to Ida, close to Prestige. Orangutan still just with their solo representative as well. Just clinging on there. On the off angle, down under the bridge. Playing down in the dark. Wild somehow doesn't go down to that nade. It felt like I went off right in his ear. And Prestige strikes out towards the south side. And Silas is going to fall. Zedwolf now needs to pick him back up as Marth continues to move on over. Spots a leg, spots 2, and clocks the shot. Able to take down Loxy. Rectum Kaya faltering on their hold now. They played too timid, Blank. They haven't been allowed to do what they wanted here. And Wild needs to stay alive but can't. Another nade. And there's Amori finding the shots onto Silas. Zedwolf now the last to stand. Will give it a good go, but it's not going to be enough. Falls out and will go down. Rectum Kaya eliminated in 4th.
I can't believe Rectum Kaya loses that. I mean, they did everything they needed to do, which was to take out E-Arena, clear some space on that side, and then push over towards R8. But R8 have really been putting on a clinic during this game. Very fantastic play from inside of box compound, never straying too far away from their safety. When it came down to it, this has been a really good hold in terms of playing from one position to the next. Marth, oh my goodness me. I think he'll give his life for it, but you don't really care.
My goodness me, what a stylish way to close that down.
Me.
R8, they were on the warpath in Rondo and they wanted more. A bigger slice of the PMGC pie. That is a massive game for R8. They held the box compound and nobody could deal with it.
That is some silly stuff. I mean, I think I've seen Marth do that twice this game, by the way. But you don't expect it in those final moments. You really do not expect it in these final moments. What a way to finish the game. And Orangutan, once again, gets some decent placement points.
R8 putting Mina on the map right there. That is what I'm talking about. That finish, by the way. Oh my gosh. Marth onto AJ. That was one of the most disgusting ways to end a match. These guys are not messing around here, Max.
I can just hear Marth on that push just like, YOLO! Just like, let's send it. Let's try and get that. And it actually worked out. They get rid of AJ. They're like, wait, there's still someone alive. And it was Aru from Orangutan. But R8, given a free tick into the late game by playing box compound, they were able to hold on to their resources. But the flex out of the late game, Niptura, that we were super hype about of Amori to get the off angle onto Rengnam Karya. R8 coming out swinging here in PMGC in the first 2 games alone. I'm nice. Genuinely so impressed.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with them as well. I love that Rengnam played that really well. 2-2 split either side of the river. They were going against 2 different teams at the same time to minimize both of those teams' control. But Amori was like, not on my watch, bro. Going around to the north side, getting that angle and just demolishing Rengnam after that really set the tone for the game. And they were just able to just bulldoze through that after all.
Dude, R8, I mean, starting off strong in Rondo. They had 5 elims to start things off and then just would continue to put up points. They win the second game. They are off to the best start they could possibly ask for, right? Now, speaking of starts, Max Man, you know, this match started exactly as we thought it was, right? What a ridiculous fight once again, right? We just see APG right? Just going at it with GS right off the rip in military. What do you think about that, Max?
You're trying to make me angry right now, Hodrooks, because it's working. Just to tell you, it is definitely working. It's
crazy.
Yeah, GS versus APG, it's an ego fight we're seeing between these two teams. It's completely unnecessary. We talked about it. Military Island, it's big enough for two teams. And look, in comparison, you can look at GK, right? They don't fight in Novo.
Yep.
They're instantly in the circle, going for great third party onto Wolves and Xavier on the northern position. And then you have GS team and APG constantly fighting, clutch after clutch. Really good fight from Jafar at the end, by the way, but completely unnecessary. But you know what? I'm going to talk about something that makes me happy. And it's this R8 win. You know that? I can talk about positively because Amori, the off angle, sure, maybe it doesn't show itself through his limbs. He only got one, but the angles were so impactful for them to wrap up this chicken dinner.
Yeah, it's the damage that really makes this, and the knockouts as well. And also look at Marth. It's very similar to what we saw in the last game as well, right? 67 damage taken for 894 damage is insane. So I wouldn't doubt that we're going to see him MVP.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that'd be good to see here. But, yeah, look, this is what we love to see right here. Oh, my gosh. At first, we thought that Top was clutching it up with that double shotgun, right? Woo. And then Jafar just cleaning it up right there. And you can just see the frustration and talk amongst all these players here, Max.
Okay, genuine question for you guys. Are they going to stop the hot drop? What are we thinking?
No.
I agree. Unfortunately, I agree. They're going to keep doing it, right? It just seems like something APG would do, and GS team are like, why not? That's their reasoning, I'm sure. Why?
Who cares about the grand finals? You know what I'm saying? Who cares, dude? You know, we still got group stage. It's not like we're out of the tournament, right? Right? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's what they're going for, or that's the vibe right now, but that's definitely not the way to play it. Come on, guys. I mean, we've talked about it before, Max especially, right? We've been saying, hey, if they don't make it, if the teams that don't make it to Gauntlet, they're going to have an extra hard time making it to finals through the group stage. You've got to be in that top 7 for the best chance, and it seems like both these teams are kind of throwing that already.
Yeah, looking at these replays, though, big highlight on Marth, not only for that final send onto AJ with the car that was just like an absolutely crazy clutch at the end, but also how he was able to just peek over the rocks to make sure there wasn't just a solo straggler around there, and they do find that one solo of Regnum and just eliminate him. That could have been a big issue as you go back over the entirety of this game. I love this graphic, by the way. I got to say, production.
So much.
I want to see more of this kind of graphics.
Wow.
Looking at, in particular, R8, the winning team of this match, holding on to George Paul, moving into crates, actively scouting the entirety of the early stage, and they see this circle instantly. Where do you want to go? In a position next to the river, and they send it instantly in that spot, which not only facilitates transition in case of a bad circle shift, but it also allows you to just zone teams away from you, which allows them to instantly have an easy access into the late game with cars to move up and just clean up the entirety of the lobby.
Beautifully done. I mean, that's such a great position, too, because for some reason the zone just hard shifts back to the south. You were right there, right? You control the bridge, you could gatekeep and get points, or just head back to a position. So, I mean, R8 not hesitating there. I think it paid off dividends for them here in Aptera.
It really, really did. And it's one of those things of like, you know, zone prediction and trying to figure out where the zone's going to go next. And we do see a lot of zones over on that bridge specifically. So really, really heads up play from them to try and take advantage of that and go, listen, it's either going to go straight up to the north because we've often seen zones up there, or it's going to stay on this bridge. And they were really right with their prediction there. It turned out very well and it worked in their favor. That was a big Elan game for them.
Look at that. 20 points for R8. Woo! These guys are feeling great right here. Tons of great fights in this one, too. As a matter of fact, we look a little bit down on the leaderboards there, right? We saw the Wolves, right? They had a great push onto D Xavier. I was honestly shocked that we saw GK push all the way out there and actually make that third party, Max. What do you think about that fight?
It was all down to SafG, really. SafG, I think it was actually a 250, 300 meter third party from a distance between Wolves and Xavier. It's like, well, I got an easy angle there. It's so flat around the compound, I'm instantly going to take it up. And when he gets the knocks, they regroup, send it forward, and get a really good cleanup. It was down to just a solo, I believe, on both sides between SafG and Doran, and luckily enough, SafG wins it. But I like to see GK being this opportunistic in these third-party opportunities, so keep it up, because right now, Mina, they're coming out swinging, not just R8, but GK too, and I want to see more of that moving forward.
Yeah, I want to see more of that as well. I want to see more of that last play that we saw from Marth. Oh my goodness. If you guys could, we were in the back, right? And when I saw that zone shift there, I thought we were going to see AJ possibly clean things up, make a crazy last stand fight. But then Marth just said, nah, you know, you're out of here, dude, right? Just driving up the vehicle, backseating himself and going to the blue, right, Neptura? Like, literally, if he did not hit those shots, he's gone. So that was a crazy play.
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like do or die, really. You gotta try and go for the risky play to make sure you get the rewards that you're wanting, and they did. I mean, look at the overall rankings. That match puts them top of that leaderboard, 33 points.
I mean, we're looking at teams that were so well placed there. Thunder Talk, despite not getting a win, currently in second place, and also Orangutan looking really good in the top 7. They are looking really comfy despite not getting a chicken dinner. They both have 10 placement points, which means you're still reaching the late game. I would like to see Orangutan survive as more than just a solo in the later stage. I think it was AKOP on Rondo, and this last game it was just Aru in the water. But you know what? They know when they lose the early game fight, we'll just try and survive as a solo, get some placement points, and so far it is successful for those teams.
And the consistency is all about, right? Especially when you don't get that opportunity to have a big game, right? You got to put something on the board, and Orangutan are doing just that here at Neptura.
Yeah, they really are, and it's all about that momentum, right? If you try and go too aggressive and play exactly how you want to play, even though the zone is against you, you're actually going to end up demoralizing your team in a lot of ways. So it's really nice that they're like, listen, we're going to scrap what we've done. We're just going to go solo again. It's fine. Get a top 4, get a top 3. We've got those podium finishes under our belts now, so that when a zone actually comes that we want to play and we can play the way we want to, we have that at our back to go, yeah, we got this. We can do this.
I love it, man. What a crazy a couple games so far. You know, one team in particular, right, that we're seeing all the way down the leaderboards that I didn't really think we were going to see too much, right? It's got to be APG, Max, right? So I know that we're probably going to continue to see these hot drops because they're just that stubborn.
Yeah.
But like at this point, like with them so far down the leaderboards, do you think there's a possibility of them changing things up?
Unfortunately, no. Knowing APG, they're just going to keep going with what they're currently doing. I wish they wouldn't, Hodrix, to be completely honest with you. I wish they would be like, this is not working out. Maybe we did a bit of a mistake here and change it up. But unfortunately, that is not the APG style. But talking about another team here quickly, Niptrod, I think we would both agree on that is currently underperforming is DRX. They're currently standing in 14th position, only 5 points. And those are 5 eliminations, no placement points, which is very much not like DRX that we used to see in the past. I need to see a bit of a step up from them because so far they've been invisible these 2 matches.
Yeah, it has been odd, I think, but I think that's kind of the way they will want to play this. It's been slow, but maybe just, we've had 2 really tough zones. Maybe that's really what's coming into play here. They tend to rotate quite slowly. They tend to, play center, but then they've got large splits, and maybe with these big hard shifts that we're seeing, both the slow timing and those big splits, they're just not working in their favor.
Yeah. The good thing is here, though, with the gauntlet is that it's top 7, right? So top 7 move to the finals. And at the end of the day, we're going to see a whole bunch of teams go on over to the group stage that don't make it, right? So it gives teams, I think, a little bit of more room for error, right? To be able to have a couple, games to kind of adjust and kind of get things to happen. But at the same time, I mean, we're seeing squads move at a pace so fast here, Neptura, right? I think that if you let one of these squads, even a team like R8, get a lead, I think it's going to be tough for them to lose it.
Yeah, this is where you've got to be so adaptable, right? You got to tweak things in the game. You don't have time in between the matches to do anything. It's got to be from zone to zone. You've got to be adapting. And that's where teams that are opportunistic are going to have that advantage. So really need to see the other teams try and curb that gap because it is going to just get run away with.
Yeah. I mean, looking at Kara here in 12th position in the rankings, need to do a little bit more in their games. And you've got 1 placement point, 6 eliminations. A team that, have some great players on their roster, especially looking at old Melis esports players from Turkey. There was just a rising star squad back in the day, and I think they're going to try and redeem themselves a bit more in this PMGC. As of right now, definitely a slower start, alongside also Ulf, that I think a lot of us here, Niptra and Hodrix, we were looking at Ulf like old Firefox squad with Eren in particular, rising star of Turkey, that they were going to do well, but unfortunately right now, playing way more passive than I expected moving forward.
Yeah, it's weird. It is weird, right? We knew that we were going to play more passive, but this passive, I don't know. I don't know what I feel about that.
Yeah, it's so hard, right? It's so hard for me to really, adjust when we've only seen 2 games, right? I think once we see at the end of the day, we're going to have a much more like clearer picture of what's happening here. But I mean, with these 2 games, and let's be real, guys, right? These zones have been going ridiculous, right? They've been yoinking all over the place. That's been making things really tough. Even in this match, right? We had a hard shift on over to the southwest side. So I think that's making things a little bit uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, I mean, these squads, you got to be used to these hardships, right? You got to be able to put something on the board. But I will say, it's hard when you're hot dropping, right, Max? It's a little
talking
tough.
about it. It's making me
I'm not
angry,
going to stop,
Hodrix.
right? Because it's like, we got 3 today. But it is what it is, right? Hopefully we can start seeing some adjustments. That's what I want to see, because at the end of the day, we talk about consistency, right? And how important that is, Max. But adaptability, I think, is going to be clutch, especially when you have just so many monster squads here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like some people would... I see a lot, especially in like chats and just comment sections in Instagram, when people give up a hot drop position. They're like, oh, they're scared and stuff. No, they are playing to win. It's a battle royale. You want to survive as long as possible in the game, okay? The idea is to get a chicken dinner. It's the whole point of how the game works. So giving up a drop location or going slightly off to your drop location to have a similar rotation path, but just to dodge the early skirmish, is a smart play. It is how you play this esports. And unfortunately, as of right now, we've not seen those big changes. Of course, it's just 2 games in. It's still day 1, okay? But we do need to see those adaptations being made, because otherwise, for me, if you keep hot dropping an entire tournament, you're just not first place caliber just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It comes down to this. Do you want to control the beginning of the game, or do you want to control the end of the game? And a lot of times you can't do both. So you got to pick, because I think the end of the game is going to give you a lot more of what you want versus controlling the beginning of the game. So you got to make that choice and make it fast, man, because yes, we still have that opportunity in the league stage or the group stage or whatever to get where you want to be. But it's the gauntlet. There's only 3 days. You only have so many matches. If you want to make that top 7, make the changes, control the end game.
Yeah, and I think at this stage here, we try to be as open-minded, I think, about certain decisions that these players make. And at the same time, though, I mean, we have to be critical, right? Because I mean, this is where everything's on the line, right? I think there's a lot of squads here. They're all confident in their ability, right? But you don't want to deal with the group stage, Max, because we got some monster squads coming along the way, right? So if you could just head and just straight to the grand finals here and now, you got to do it. So if you feel like we're being a little too harsh on some of these squads, I mean, we got to be right now, right? This is what they worked the entire year for, being a little bit more, passive and kind of like hypothetical. I mean, for me, that's for PMSL, some of the earlier stages, Max, right? This is the PMGC. There's no room for error.
Especially in this gauntlet stage, I'm sorry to say, but for some of these squads that I'm looking at, their highest opportunity to make it to the finals is going to be through the gauntlet by being in top 7. Making it down to relegation into the group stage or into last chance, where you have to be top 3 or top 2, it's even more competitive. It's even harder to be at the very tippy top of those rankings. If you fail now, chances are your adventure might just be over unless you do a massive comeback in the next stages and you can actually qualify to the grand finals. So we need to see changes very early on, because otherwise top 7, it might be out of the question, because this lobby, the gauntlet, looking at the other teams in the group stage, it's so competitive, and it is the toughest lobby, but still, this is your best opportunity to reach the finals. So you've got to bring your A game here.
Yeah. And the good thing is, like I said, it's top 7. So it's not like we're only, having 2 slots where you have to have absolute perfection, right? If you're able to get 6th or 7th, you're going to be screaming for joy, right? But I like that point that you made, Max. And, we got a little bit of time to talk here. So how about this? Okay. Neptura, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Max was talking about how there's some squads that need to perform here, because if they don't make it in the top 7 now, they're probably gonna not make it to the grand finals, right? So which teams in particular do you think are really in the hot seat, right? Which squads do you want to see make it in the top 7 and are possibly not going to make it in the grand finals if they don't make it to that top 7 here now?
Okay, I've got a really hot take, and I'm slightly scared. I think A7.
Oh, wow.
A7.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't make it. They didn't make it to in the World Cup, right? They didn't make it past the survival stage.
Exactly. Exactly. I think the longer they have to fight against more and more and more teams, the more pressure they put on themselves, I think the worse they're going to do. They need to come out super strong with no pressure, top 7, easy peasy, knock it out of the park, go to finals. I think if they go the other direction, it's not going to look good.
What do you think about that, Max?
Alpha 7's a pick and a half, but I could see it happening. Alpha 7 are the team that, or you get the best team in the world that can win PMWC, or you get a team that unfortunately can't even reach the PMWC finals. So it's a bit random what you get sometimes. I feel like you spin a wheel at the start of the tournament for Alpha 7, and that's the team you're going to get
for sure.
In the entirety of the event. But if I had to go for one team, I think is going to be a big upset here moving forward. Oh, it's a tough one, man. This lobby's really stacked.
It's so stacked.
I do think Alpha Gaming would be the one to just fail in the gauntlet and then just dominate in the harder stages where you need to be top 3 or top 2 in groups all last chance. So APG strike me as the one that's not going to make it.
Ooh.
You know, that's I wouldn't say that's a bad take, only because considering that they're hot dropping so hard, right? In military. I mean, that's the part that just kind of like, it's a big asterisk for me, right? Because, I mean, we know what this team's capable of. Their roster is absolutely stacked to the teeth, right? So to see them hot dropping like this, if they don't make it here and now, right? And they go to the group stage, that is just going to tell every other team that this squad's predictable, right? That, you know what? They're hard-headed. They're not going to leave. They're not going to adapt. And when you have that advantage over so many other squads, Neptura, I mean, these guys are using any data piece they can to take an advantage, right? So if if they know that Alpha are not going to move, right? Alpha Gaming, then I think that's a huge advantage. What do you think?
Oh, of course, especially when you think about APG being one of those top teams. I mean, they are one of the top teams in the world. They are, in my opinion, one of the scariest teams to go up against because they're aggressive, they're opportunistic, they're unpredictable. You don't know which side they're going to come from, how many there's going to be, and what angles they're going to take. So if you can find the one predictable thing about them, you're going to take advantage of that. You're going to change your strategy or tweak it or do something to try and knock them as far down as possible, because once that gets to the later stages, you're going to have a real problem with them. So for sure, they need to be able to be adaptable so that they have that power over teams, so they still have that fear factor, because they might just start to lose it otherwise.
No, I fully agree. But you know what? We have a little bit of time before this game starts here. Hot Juice, I know we have time to ask you a question. Which team do you think is not going to reach the finals based on, you know, who are the favorites right now?
Oh, okay. Let's see. Honestly, I'm going to go with my team, the Wolves, right? I love this squad. I'm going to say that. And this is the reason why, right? This Wolves team, it has been given myself and I think everybody the highest hopes for an NA team we have seen in years, right? So when it comes to this squad, I am so confident in their abilities. We saw that wonderful push that we just saw a little bit earlier onto D Xavier of all teams, right? And they win that fight, okay? At the same time, just knowing the whole logistics of what's going to be happening in the group stage with only so few spots available, I think you're leaving it to chance, right? I think Wolves are a good enough team to definitely make it to the grand finals. I just think that their percentage chance drops like down to 10% if they're going into the group stage. So I think for Wolves, I really want to see them clutch one of those 7 slots here. I mean, it's top 7 with how they're performing so far and how they're looking. I'm confident they're going to do that. So if for some reason they don't, Max, oh man, it's going to put me on the back foot big time. My hope's never going to die, okay? But I want to see it. You know what I'm saying?
A full-on supporter of NA, also known as near the airport. Maybe that'll be after this one. But whoa! But looking at Wolves, actually, I was really happy, and you covered PMSL Americas, right, Hot Jukes? Looking at how they played around the whole gauntlet point system and rule set, I think it was so well executed. I feel like this team, and I think we talked about it a bit yesterday also during the rehearsal and the scrims, if Wolves have a good day one, which as of right now, you know, topsy-turvy, fair to say, if they do have a good head start day one today in these 6 matches, I do believe they will be able to make it top 7 at the end of the gauntlet, because they play around the rule set so well that they know how to slow down or accelerate based on their position on the rankings and how far they are in the tournament. And I feel like that level of adaptation is very important in the qualification stage in particular. So I do get your point again with Wolves, Hodges 100%, but I feel like today we can instantly tell if they have what it takes to be in the top 7 and go to the finals, or unfortunately, if they are going to be making it into the group stage.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with just that push on the D Xavier, it just showed me that, hey, you know what? These guys are not messing around, right? Because any team could have easily just sat back, right? All right, we'll wait for the next circle, and then we'll make a move from there. They didn't hesitate before the circle popped, and they pushed on a D Xavier and won that fight. So for me, I'm like, for sure, I'm confident this team's gonna make it into the grand finals here and now. So after seeing that, for some reason, if they don't make it into top 7, that means something went horrifically wrong, right? Something went happen with their mental. They're getting caught in bad decisions or something like that, and that's what I don't want to see Neptura here. So that's the reason why for Wolves, I don't even want to even think when it comes to group stage. I just want to see them in the finals here now.
Yeah, and this is the thing that's so difficult, right? Especially for Wolves. I mean, yes, they've got individually a lot of global experience, but at the same time, they're a relatively new team to global. Let's just, put it that way, right? And I think that is the problem, that's the concern we might have, is like, strategy-wise, really good team. They're holding their own. They've got those smart plays, like you said. They're doing their thing. The thing is that they have one bad day or a few bad games. I don't know how they would react to that. I don't know if they go, it just affects their mental way too much and they go, okay, we're done, or if they're able to actually do something about it. Bye.